It's Marvel Moon Knight time with yours truly, Achilles, so let's get to it. Marvel Studios has finally introduced us to the Moon Knight, a unique superhero with a lot of mental disabilities. Mark Spector is the avatar of the Egyptian moon god, Khonshu, and he fights to protect the innocent from evil. But Mark also happens to have multiple personalities disorder. Following the comics, there are 3 different identities living inside of Mark Spector's body and mind. All 3 have unique personalities and traits that will help Mark fulfill his duties as Moon Knight. Think of Moon Knight as Deadpool and the Punisher combined, with a lot more problems and sarcasm. What I love personally about Moon Knight, that he is not what a hero is supposed to be. Yet all the problems that wrapped up inside of him are what shaped him to be the hero we deserve. Starting with our main hero Oscar Isaac as Stephen Grant, Mark Spector, and Jack Lockley, or we can just call him Moon Knight. Ethan Hawke as our main villain Arthur Harrow, Meg Calloway as Layla, and F. Murray Abraham as Khonshu. I will have each episode marked and stamped right below, as well as my overall opinion of the entire new season of Marvel's Moon Knight. Moon Knight kicks off introducing us to Steven, who seems to be having some sort of sleep disorder, which leads him to lose track of time. Steven seems to be lacking control over his life and everything that is going on around him. The lack of respect from people around him to what it seems like his only friend is a goldfish. Steven seems to have a mom who sends him postcards from around the world, and we get to see him talking on the phone with her, or possibly leaving voicemails. Now, knowing Moon Knight's history, that it's most likely his mom is not even real. In the first episode, we get to meet our villain, Arthur, who seems to have a connection with an Egyptian deity, and not a very nice one either. Feels like our show focuses on Steven, like he's our eyes and ears, and whenever he goes to sleep, it seems like something gets altered in his life. That's when we finally start hearing Khonshu's voice, and Mark takes over. Khonshu is the Egyptian god that represents the moon, and Mark is his avatar, or you can just call him Moon Knight. The first episode is extraordinary, so unique from what we have seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Moon Knight himself is so far unique from all the heroes that have been introduced. With all the mental disorders and the fact that he is pretty much possessed by an Egyptian deity, which makes him the most fascinating character. Cannot wait for the next episode of Marvel's Moon Knight. What I like about episode 2 is that Steven and we, the audience, are one, and we are learning everything that is going on around Steven when he falls asleep, when Mark takes over and becomes Moon Knight. In the second episode, we get to learn about Mark Spector and the deal Mark made with Khonshu. Steven realizes Mark is not a good guy, but they're after him, and Mark wants to take over, but Steven does not allow him. We also get to meet Layla, who is actually married to Mark, and both have been after something that will lead them to the tomb of Ammit. Arthur is after the same thing. He wants to free Ammit and free the world of evil, as Ammit will judge your sins even if you have not yet committed them. I'm enjoying the story so far. I know it has only been 2 episodes, but how unique the story is compared to what we have seen so far in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We have pure evil against someone who is not a perfect hero. Mark is borderline between the Punisher and the Deadpool, dissociative identity disorder, who has been blessed by an Egyptian deity. I also wanted to say that we should not judge Steven just yet. After all, he was able to summon the power of the moon and transform himself into Mr. Knight. Of course, the show was not going to end without Mark taking over, putting the real suit and killing a jackal. Episode 2 ended where all may have started, in Egypt, as Mark is about to track down Arthur before he frees Ammit. Episode 2 was truly engaging, and I cannot wait for the next episode of Marvel's Moon Knight. Episode 3 kicks off in Egypt, as Mark is trying to find Arthur before he finds the tomb of Ammit. But of course, Mark's starting to have mental breakdowns. Seems like Steven had taken over, but for a moment, seemed like we may have a third party crushing, and I don't believe it's Khonshu. Khonshu is left with no other options but to summon the gods. Mark gets summoned to the inside of the Great Pyramid of Giza, and as gods gather, we get to find out why the gods stopped interacting with men. and why they did not help to fight off Thanos. The gods are not too thrilled with Khonshu, but at least one of them did end up helping Mark, giving him the clue on how to find the tomb of Amut. Mark of course had some help with that, as Layla found him and led him to find the map to the tomb until they hit a bump in the sky. The only way to read the map is by the guidance of the stars. With time, everything in our universe shifts. And so do the stars, and this is when Khonshu did something extraordinary. Khonshu reversed the time on the sky by about 2,000 years, which made the whole scene simply spectacular. All actions have consequences. The gods told Khonshu that if he ever disturbed the skies, once more, he'll be in prison forever. Ending the episode with Khonshu turning into stone for eternity. I love the chemistry between the actors, but I love more the chemistry between the characters, between Mark and Steven. The more time passes, the more they interact with each other, the more they trust each other. And closer to the comics they get. But still, I believe there is a third person living in that body. I guess we'll have to wait and see, and I cannot wait for the next episode of Moon Knight, as Mark will have to rescue Khonshu to save the world from Amut. Don't forget to smash that like button and leave me any comments below. Let me know what you thought of the show. Episode 4. Where do I begin? Khonshu has been imprisoned with what it seems like with the rest of the Egyptian gods. Layla and Steven are on their way to the tomb, but Steven's decided to lock Mark away since Khonshu is no longer present. This episode gave me a lot of the film The Mummy vibes, with our heroes in the middle of the desert in the search for a hidden tomb that is protected by a bunch of undying guards. A lot of secrets have been revealed in the tomb of Amut. Who was Amut's last avatar, and what secrets does Mark keep from Layla's past? Since Khonshu was never rescued, as hoped, Steven is now on his own with no power to protect him, and Arthur will show no mercy as he kills Mark. Here is where things get weird. Seems like Mark was sent to an asylum, and that is filled with a lot of familiar faces. Mark finally grasps for whatever reality he's in and escapes, until he runs into an Egyptian coffin, and someone's in it. Steven and Mark have been separated, and each has its own body. As they tried to escape, one of the rooms also had an Egyptian coffin with someone trapped. My theory is the third personality is Jake. Very interesting episode with so many things happening, but I would say maybe episode 4 is more of a filter episode than anything. After that, we will have to wait and find out more as the episode ends with a literal Egyptian god appearing in her true form. Taweret. I have to say it. Episode 5 is so far my favorite episode. Talk about a journey into a hero's origin. Episode 5 has truly nailed it by telling us the origin story of our hero, by sharing a few horrible memories of what made our protagonist into our Moon Knight. Mark and Steven will have to balance their scales so they can passage into the afterlife or spend eternity in hell. The only way to do it is by Mark to be truly open about everything with Steven. Steven not only will get to see early memories, but also the day Mark made a deal with a god. One of those early memories about Mark's brother, and how that moment changed Mark's life forever, as his mother would never stop blaming Mark for the death of his brother. Steven will also find out that he is actually not the original, as in one of the memories, Mark is at a point of a mental breakdown which manifested in creating Steven. Heroes have to go through a lot of trials in life, and those trials are what will define our heroes to their true purpose. As for Moon Knight, or I should say for Mark, it was his path of pain and torture that will make him into a hero he's meant to be. With the help, of course, of Steven. There were moments in the episode where Steven and Mark were trying to balance their scales. And during those moments, I figured, hey, this is it. We finally get introduced to Jake Lockley. But it seems like today is not the day. Episode 5 is truly astonishing. I love the entire Egyptian mythology of the afterlife. Seeing Taweret just walking around as if she was real. I just could not get enough of this episode that I had to rewatch it. The moment that we've all been waiting for. Amut has been set free. Arthur Harrow has finally achieved victory. After killing Mark, gets hold of the Amut statue and rises to the only place that can release Amut from her prison. Amut finally made her godly appearance as she is set free inside of the Great Pyramid of Giza and chooses Arthur as her avatar so they can set free the world of evil. Amut luckily is not the only one who is set free. Layla manages to find Khonshu and set him free. The battle between the gods has begun, but it seems like Khonshu is too weak to fight Amut without an avatar. In the afterlife, Mark chooses to return to the land of the dead to save Steven, and his sacrifice will set them free. That part is a bit confusing. It's like they return to the world of the living, but they're dying again. Of course, Khonshu made a deal, and our heroes return to the fight. Tawret finally has her own avatar, and Layla makes it a deal with the goddess, and joins with Mark to stop Arthur and hopefully imprison Amut in a mortal body. While all that is happening, Amut and Khonshu are again for round 2, and Amut is still kicking his ass. The final episode not only was short, but it was a little bit disappointing. The only thing that I personally enjoyed was when Layla got her suit, which is badass and literally became the first Marvel Egyptian superhero. After that, the action was a bit weak and the story felt rushed at the same time. In the end, Mark made a deal with Khonshu. Once it was over, so were they. Maybe not. After all, this is a Marvel film. And at the end of credits, we finally get to see our boy, Jake, who had secretly made a deal with Khonshu. Marvel Studios has given us one spectacular season of Moon Knight, as we are introduced into the Egyptian mythology of the Marvel Universe. I love how every part of history, every myth and legends are all true in the Marvel Universe, as if everything is permitted. We have Norse mythology, the eternal history, and now Egyptian mythology. And soon Greek mythology, as in a few months Zeus will make his appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I remember years ago learning about Moon Knight and all the unique problems that came wrapped up in this hero. A hero who is far beyond perfect, with so many mental disabilities, yet he is a hero in his own right. Oscar Isaac is truly a fantastic actor. The way that he could just switch to different characters and change his entire charisma is truly exceptional. Each episode was different from each other, each great and unique, but the ending was a bit disappointing. It was obvious that the end will lead to a great battle between good and evil, but it felt extremely rushed to the point that some of the action scenes felt even more rushed. At least at the end we finally got our third party crusher, Jake Lockley. Overall, truly amazing season. I hope this will not be the last time we get to see our boys in action, as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is getting darker with each new film. Let's not forget our new hero, who I am very excited about, and hope to see again our new Egyptian superhero, Scarlet Scarab. I hope you enjoyed my review on Marvel's Moon Knight, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button for more. By yours truly, Achilles.